And we are live. Good morning, boot campers, all you graduates. Glad you can make it. We got our panel. Hopefully,
Morning.
we got some other people out in the viewing land. And we're going to be getting into a couple of different topics today. We're going to talk about uh, our top producer formula to capture lead pages. We're going to talk a little bit about syndicating your videos, and we're going to talk a little bit about Blab, new social media format. So that's what we got planned for today. Hopefully everybody will get something out of it and add to the conversation as we move along. So, as far as our first topic goes, capture lead pages, why don't we jump into that? And let's get some comments from some people about what they saw and learned. So whoever wants to jump in first, go right ahead.
Well, I'll start off, I guess. I think, one of the biggest things with lead capture pages that I've learned is that, when you create a capture page, you need to have a good hook right up front, something that when people come to your capture page, it's something that, that grabs their attention. And it's their reason more or less for being there when they get there. When you drive traffic to that capture page, it needs to be congruent with what you were originally talking about when you brought them to that capture page. Because if they get to the capture page and it's just, totally on a different subject all of a sudden, um, people tend to just shut down right there and go back to whatever they were doing before. You guys agree with that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's got to be congruency throughout everything so that, when they go from one thing to the other, it looks familiar and there's no resistance to them.
And it's a good thing too, like if when you create the capture page, if you actually have your own image there somewhere on that page.
Yeah, that's why bridge videos are so important, so that you can tell your story and they can see that you're a real person, not just, some figment of their imagination on the internet. Everybody
That's all
else,
I've got right now.
everybody else is kind of quiet. They don't get any other input?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. I switched earbuds. Um, the other thing is there's little kind of nuances too with your photo through like going to events and kind of watching some videos on lead capture pages. Women tend to get more click-through. Pictures of women will tend to get more click-throughs than pictures of men. And for men or women, even if if your audience, if your target audience is women, you still want to put, if it's going to be people, have the forefront person be a woman. I use lead capture leadpages.net, and they have photos on there that you can use. And there's one of them where there's a couple at a beach, and it's kind of taken from the side where they're looking to one direction, and the woman's in the forefront. There's a man. It's a couple, so the man's on the other side of her, and he's kind of a little blurred out. Not a lot, but just kind of because he's farther back, and I use it a lot, especially with when the thing that you want them to click on is on the right side of the page, because the other tactic is if it's a picture of you or a picture of somebody, to have that person look to where you want them, even if it's blatant that there's a box there, to have them look in the direction where you want them to go. I know that what's his name? John Pemberthy talks about that a lot, and he I don't know what he did in the past, but when he talked about lead capture pages at one of the events, he uses a lot of his own photos because, well, he now has the success And I don't know if you need the success to be able to do this, but he's had professional photos taken and stuff like that, so so it looks really professional. It's casual. It's not like he's in a studio with a suit on or anything, but you can tell that they're professionally taken. The other thing, when I was marketing MLM companies, I made sure that the color scheme was the color scheme of the particular company I was targeting. So, like, if I was talking to people that were in It Works, their company colors are like hues of green and black. So I would use and you can't really, when you're targeting someone from another MLM, you can't use the company logo or anything like that. So I would use maybe a woman who's happy that's wearing a green shirt. And then and sometimes if it was something that had to do with like all natural, or like one of the companies that I was targeting was doTERRA, and their company colors are purple, and it's all natural, essential oils. So I had someone, it was a pretty girl, and I don't remember what she was wearing, but she was in a field of like purple flowers, and so I wanted to kind of emit that essence of like natural and coming from plants and stuff like that. And so that's all things you need to think about with your target market. What is going to attract their eye? Not only the wording you're using, but the visual aspects of it, because we tend to be visual humans, and so just think about that. And I know I probably shouldn't, but right now I'm getting my images off of Google, and I know sometimes that can be a copyright issue. If you are going to use them, use something generic, and then I always look for wallpaper. Like if I'm looking for women in field or woman with purple shirt on or something like that, I always put wallpaper behind it, because Google's gonna bring up larger images. If you take a small image and you widen it out to a full page lead capture page, the first page that they look at, it's gonna be grainy and kind of distorted because you're taking small and making it big. So if you start out big, then the picture is gonna be a lot clearer and more professional looking. So that's my 2 cents.
I think it was 3.
Yeah. Well, I tend to talk a lot. That's why they muted me a lot last night.
All right, anybody else? Nance, Ann?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, Ann.
I don't know whether you're aware, but Lead Pages are offering a free course on a webinar to help improve people in the way they use Lead Pages on the 9th of September. They've got about 3 different times. So if anybody's interested, I can post that on the page for you.
Sure.
Yes, please.
Yep.
Okay, will do.
Yeah, just so everybody knows too, Lawrence Tam did a special appearance last night on the Wisdom Wednesdays with Pat Patterson and his group, and or was it on his Periscope? I don't know. I saw so much of Lawrence yesterday, I'm a little foggy on it. But he's got a free email class that has like videos and PDFs and everything that you can get for free from Lead Pages that I'll post in the group that everybody can get their hands on for free.
Awesome.
Marketing.
Yeah, that's kind of one of my weaknesses, so that'd be great.
Yep. Yeah, I saw that, and that was really good.
He was also on another hangout I saw for the 8FM, the 8-figure mastermind people.
Yeah, they do that all the time.
Yeah, and David Wood showed up.
Yeah.
I'd kind of like to get the link to that replay too, just to see what they were talking about. But
Yeah, they're a little bit secretive about that because I've tried to join into that group before, and it's only for Lawrence's people. They check out who your upline is and everything.
Drat.
Yeah. Yeah, most of the other ones are easy to get on too. So, all right. Well, let's move on. And yesterday, Nancy had contacted me because of seeing my videos online, and the number of views I was getting is up into the hundreds. And this past week, I've been averaging over 200, and that goes into syndicating your video. I know Robert and I have talked a little bit about this online. But what I do is I take my video. First, I place it on my site. Then I put it on the graduate site, for our daily assignment. Then I'll put it on Google+. And then I go and I put it into about 80 different groups on Facebook that have something to do with making money from home, online businesses, network marketing, online marketing, anything in that realm that I've been a part of for some time now. And by the time I usually get done posting that, which I do manually, which takes about 20 minutes, I end up with at least 100 views.
That's awesome. Are you getting any comments or anything? Or
Yes.
just okay?
Yeah, I'm
awesome.
getting comments, I'm getting likes. Some of it are people pushing their own stuff. But the key is that they're getting seen, and I'm getting the talk out there.
You're actually putting some of your videos out there now?
I'm putting all my videos. I've been doing that for a couple of weeks now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever I post for our daily assignment, I take and I put it out there in at least 80 groups that I'm a part of. And it's just stuff that I started getting involved with when I first got started that seemed like it'd be relative to what I'm doing.
So you put each one on manually, do you, right?
Yeah, that way so Facebook can't come after me for using a poster of any type. It takes about 20 minutes to go through the list and click on, put it in there.
Do you put, hey Ray, do you put anything like, do you just put the video, or do you put any kind of wording before it, or
Yes,
say anything like?
It'll show up the same way as I do on our site. It'll say Ray's Rhino Roundup, the date, the title, and then have links to my lead capture page and to my blog.
Okay.
So do you are you sharing your original Facebook post to the groups? Because I would think if you uploaded it every time, that would take a lot longer.
Yeah.
No, it would take the same amount of time if you did shares.
Oh,
You
okay.
doesn't have to upload it. You just click it and it automatically goes. The
Okay.
only time you have to upload it is when you first put it up on your site.
Oh, okay. So you're not sharing a post. You're basically putting the video fresh in each group.
Yes.
Okay. Have you ever tried at the end saying something like, if you found this information helpful, share it so other people can find it helpful as well, or something to that effect?
Yeah, I have been some. I got to do that more on a regular basis.
Okay. Yeah, I'd like to kind of find out how if that helps as far as sharing, if they actually do it or not.
Yeah.
Sometimes if you tell them, they'll tend to do it.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah, I've been finding with my quote of the day that gets shared a lot.
That's awesome.
And that always has my main website on it, and that gets shared pretty regularly and getting a lot of good interaction on Instagram with it.
Well, Ray, that one video that I saw had a lot of shares. A lot of shares.
A lot of those usually are me. If it says like
are they?
79,
Okay.
that's usually
okay.
the number of what I post.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, no, that's not all everybody else.
Okay, I was like, wow, people are really liking this.
Yeah.
Digging that, aren't they?
Okay, Ray, I have another question for you.
Okay.
And I asked you this a little bit the other day when we were talking about it. So when I was in a bunch of groups, and I wasn't in nearly 80, I was in, I don't know, maybe 40. Um, I was in basically kind of the same groups that you're looking at as, network marketing, work from home, kind of those sites. I When I was posting, and a lot of times I just shared a post or something like that. When you share it, and you click on a group I'm in or to a group or whatever, I had to start, like, actually I had a list, like a notebook piece of paper that had the list of the groups I was in, because if you put in a word, it'll bring up some groups that have that word in it, but it doesn't bring up every group that has that word in it. So I was missing some of them.
Okay.
And when you have more than 10, you can't remember all the titles. So how do you keep that all organized, I guess?
Okay. What you do is on the left-hand side of your page,
Yeah.
it says groups.
Yeah.
And there's a little thing to the right of that says more. You click that.
Okay.
And that'll show all your groups, and you just go down one at a time, and whichever one you do then goes to the top of the list. So what I do is I put in a long one that isn't related to what I'm doing as my marker, and every time I get to that one, I do the one underneath it, and then when I get down to the bottom, it's already done. It's all done. If you follow what I'm saying.
Gotcha. Yes, I get what you're saying. That's awesome. Okay.
Yeah, and
Awesome.
to do the 80 is like 20 minutes, so, I do that, with my blog, I do it with my videos, and I do it with my quote of the day that I put out there.
That's awesome. Now, do you know, are you getting any leads yet with that? And sometimes it takes longer for them to actually click.
No, I'm getting hits and leads on my new iPass that I'm seeing, so.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Yeah, people are definitely going there, so, it's getting out there. I just got to ramp it up.
That's cool. Did you see a Dr. Steve had, he's big on Periscope now. He had a thing where he was talking about kind of your funnel and going, how it all works, kind of basic stuff. But he's actually targeting Periscopers, and he's using iPass as his. He has a bridge video, but then when you click to get more information, it goes to an iPass video.
Right.
That's I'm sure it's working fairly well for him, or he would have picked something else to show, because he basically said, I want to give my information out for free. If you want to learn how to do this step, even if you're not interested in what my product is, go through my funnel, get my emails, and it's going to show you, how it works and what I say and everything. And so I thought that was pretty cool. I opted into his list because I wanted to see kind of what he was doing for emails, because that's, I can never think of what I want to write. I can do like a blog post, and send that, but I'm trying to I'm trying to set up follow-up series, but I don't really know. I don't really know what I want to say so that they want to come back and read the next one. So I kind of want to see what his follow-up series is like.
Yeah, I'm on a whole bunch of different people's lists on a separate account that I can go back and look at.
That's awesome.
Toby and Layla, LT, bunch of others. But yeah, it's always good to know what other people are doing. I mean, 'cause in this organization, people share a lot of stuff. Nobody holds back on anything.
Right. You know, now this was a while ago, and of course the man I'm speaking of does not have integrity, but my sponsor, he was like getting a bazillion sales a day. That was when he was getting to be like 40. He had recently had a $40,000 month, and it was early on. It was like 2013, but he was basically copy and pasting other people's and people do that. I'm not saying that that's not ethical or anything. People do that, but it's not authentic. Obviously, it's not you writing it, and I think some people get that. They see that it's not you if they know you at all. And it was funny because one of my teammates had told him, one of the emails I got had somebody else's link on it. He was like, "Oh yeah, I forgot to change the link." And I'm like, "Oh great, give somebody else your all your sales. That's nice."
Yeah, I've seen that with other people that they take they just copy like an Empower Network one, and they'll say, to your prosperity, and won't have their name in it, and it'll be repeated several times throughout it. I email them back and say, when you guys copy this, you guys change your information.
Right. Yeah, especially when you start getting 3 emails that say the same thing. Kind of reword it a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I mean, they even say at events, you're going to be on. When you're on someone's list, or when someone is on your list, they're also on a bunch of other people's lists too. So that's one of the reasons why they recommend being authentic, because you're going to stand out from everybody that's copy and pasting.
Right. Okay.
Ray,
Yes.
I have a question for you.
Sure.
Just coming back to posting in the Facebook groups.
Mm-hmm.
I've found that when I do that, each time I post in a group, that posting also is on my timeline.
Mm-hmm.
So I get my message being repeated over and over and over on my own timeline.
Yeah, that'll happen. It does with when I do my quote of the day, but it doesn't happen when I do my videos. It just says I was inserted into, how many groups I did. But if you go to your regular wall, it's not there. It's just on your timeline.
Right. Okay. So I'm the only one who can see that, or everybody else, if they were to come and look at my timeline, would see that as well?
No, they won't see it.
Right. Okay. Because I just wondered whether perhaps I should just do 3 or 4 at a time, and then wait, rather than try and do the whole lot all at once.
Yeah.
Right.
No, they don't see that. You're just getting your thing out there to everybody else, and it's just telling you where you posted.
Right. Okay.
Okay. All right. So let's get into Blab. And we're going to use our blabbermouth of the day. Ms. Hobson, you blabbed last night.
I don't know.
Some information.
Of those of us watching out in internet land, and those of us on the panel, I don't know if you remember the Tonight Show, watching the Tonight Show, but he had a character on there called Aunt Blabby, where he dressed up as an old lady, and Ed would ask him questions, and it got to be like a little skit thing. And my husband said that I should do something where I'm called Aunt Blabby, and do some kind of skit thing on there. But I think that was, even though it's not called Blab, it would really work. That would be more of a Periscope thing, I would think, than Blab. Blab is live stream. For those of you who don't know, Blab is live stream like Periscope, but it has like a hangout capability where you can have up to 4 people on video talking and sharing information, and then I think there's unlimited amount of people you can have, like what they call in the room, that can post questions and comments and things like that. It is connected with Twitter. So anybody that wants to follow you on Blab, you can very easily then follow them on Twitter, and then you can also share the, if you're on a Hangout or on a Blab, or you're watching one that you think your audience would like. It's a really easy thing. It says "Tell a Little Bird," and you just click on it, and the little thing pops up to send to your Twitter account as a tweet, and you just click. You can edit it if you want to, but it's just basically, hey, I'm on this, Blab, and the title or whatever, and the link, and then you just hit send, and it tweets it out to all your your Twitter account. And the cool thing about it is they're talking about it being the cooler version of Google Hangouts, because you have to kind of go in there and watch some of them. It's almost like, I was talking to Nancy about it yesterday, because I want to do something with her and Zen regarding some doing personal development, doing like a personal development show. And it's kind of like, if you've ever seen the Howard Stern show, not like this raw or shock jock kind of thing, but it's that format where people, a lot of them already have the like professional mics, where like a DJ would have, and it's like they're doing a radio show that you can see on the internet, like being on the Howard Stern show. And it's more of a, it's kind of weird. It's in the fact that it's a casual atmosphere, but it has a professional feel about it. I don't know how to describe it. And because it's new, if you kind of like Periscope, it's only about 4 weeks old. And because it's new and it's really gaining some ground as far as being a great app to use to get yourself out there and market yourself, it's really, I mean, if you start now and you get on there, like my friend Eli, who's asked me to start doing some shows with him, and that's why I got on it to begin with. Get out there where it's kind of like a movie star who's promoting a movie they're in. When they're doing those junkets, they're everywhere. They're on every talk show. They're on commercials. They're on, they blast themselves on TV and all kinds of stuff to get the word out there that this movie's coming out. The same thing we should be doing if we're building our business and we're trying to get our name out there as an expert or, as someone of authority. Be everywhere, and the format is very easy to use. We had some technical difficulties with the mics, and it might have been that I just had a bad head earbuds in. They were saying that I had some feedback, so I had to. That's really why I had to stay muted unless I was talking, because there was like, it's not. They kept saying it sounded like a plane was landing. And but it could have been my my earbuds were going bad. But it's a fun format, and you can and they kind of are touting it as a show. Like you have a show that talks about a certain subject, or maybe it has a different subjects, but it has a similar format every week, like interviewing people. And that's what Eli wants to do with me, is like be a sidekick to him, or be co-host together, and have someone come on that has had some success. And it doesn't have to be an Empower Network; it can be in anything. And like the guy that came on, and we didn't ask him to come on; he just kind of joined our group. Talking about his being a lawyer and all the mortgage stuff, led into a conversation that, and I didn't mention Empower Network or anything. I basically was giving him information about, are you marketing yourself this way? And so I think it would probably be fairly easy to reach out to him and say, if you want help with this and you want to get an easy blog started that's not going to take a lot of time setting up and all that, I have something you might be interested in, and I think it would be a fairly easy sell for him. And he's gonna, and that's what he wants to do. Eli wants to do going forward is have interviews with professionals or with people that have had success online. It can be MLM, it can be a traditional business that they're just having some success on marketing themselves online and things like that. And so I think it's going to be an up-and-coming, very popular format to get in, to market yourself with. And you don't have to be with other people. They suggest that you are on there with one other person, because then you can, it's not as easy to keep up with the comments as it is like when you're on Periscope where they pop up on the screen. It's kind of like a little sidebar, kind of like on a Hangout, where people can put in comments. And so a lot of times you'll kind of have banter back and forth, and then someone will kind of take over the show talking or interviewing someone, and the other person will, kind of like Michelle does with Empower Network things, where she'll say, hey Dave, someone has a question about blah 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 blah, and then he answers the question. So but you have 4 slots. You don't have to fill them all. You don't have to keep them open, because that was the other thing. If you don't want people jumping in, or the ability to invite people to jump in, and sometimes that's fun because it's very impromptu. They have someone you don't know come in and tell them, tell us what you do, and or is there, this, and we put it that it was our first blab, so people were coming in and say, hey, I've got some suggestions for you, and they were talking about just different things to do with blab. But if you don't want that, if you just it's just you and somebody else, and you don't want anybody else coming on, then you can just you kind of block the little squares, and then they don't have the option to join or anything. Most people will ask if they can pop in. They don't just jump on or anything if you have an open square. But it's a really interesting format, and I'll kind of let you guys know how it's gonna go, and I'm really excited. In October, Zen and Nancy and I are gonna start something fun, and so I'm excited about that. I think that'll do very well on that format, and you get a recording. The cool thing about it is they email you the recording and an MP3 file, so that you can then put it on, since it is kind of an interview style kind of thing, you can then put it on like I think it's Podomatic, or another podcast site. I think iTunes is kind of expensive to get on. I'm not sure. I haven't really tried that. But there's other sites that you can have like an account where you promote your podcasts, and you can put a podcast on a blog post too. If you just want the audio, if you don't think the video is that interesting or whatever, but it's the information that's best, then you can just put a podcast recording on there instead of a video. So I think that'll be great as far as repurposing. And then of course you can take the video, put it up on YouTube, do SEO keywords, put it on a blog post, do SEO keywords over there, and so it'll be great to repurpose the videos and the podcasts. So it's blob.im if you want to check it out, blab.im, and it's on. You can put it. It's a website that you can look at it from your computer, as well as a mobile app, so you can look at it from your phone as well.
All right, thank you. Anybody have any questions for Linda?
Nope.
I hear crickets. Okay.
Yep.
Hey, Linda, just in the little bit that I saw yesterday of Blab, and then from what you told me as far as when you had that conversation with the lawyer, I think that you can really position yourself as an authority just by the way the questions are posed to people, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
I mean, you can kind of pre-plan that. You could kind of pre-plan your session with whoever it is that's on there, and you could talk about what they specialize in and position them as an authority. I mean, there's no limits to what you can do as far as
Right.
how you set it up, how you repurpose it. So I saw a lot of benefits to it.
Oh yeah, and I haven't seen a whole, because I just got, I mean, yesterday was my first time on there, and like the day before was the first time I ever watched anything on there. I didn't know what it was until Eli said something about it. And from the ones that I saw, it was more of there was one that I saw that was very interesting, and I actually captured the video because I couldn't figure out how to get a replay link. So I just uploaded the video. So I think what I'm going to do is maybe make it a Dropbox link and put it in the group. And basically, it's the guy from socialmediaexaminer.com, the guy who founded that, and another guy is kind of a techie guy and knows a lot about social media apps and all kinds of stuff. He's been in well, he said he was a broadcaster. I'm not sure if it was radio or not, but he's been a broadcaster for many years. And it was just those two. And that one was not really, like an interview type. It was basically what they wanted to teach was how to use Blab because it's such a new format. And obviously, Social Media Examiner is all about teaching, how to use social media to do what you want it to do. And that was very informational, but the other ones I saw were more of an interview style. And you can do whatever you want. It's not like it's, specific for that or anything like that. But that's kind of what I saw too, is that, with the show we want to do with personal development, we could have leaders from Empower Network on there that are more focused on personal development, like that's their attraction marketing is personal development. But we could also have other personal development leaders on there. I don't know how easy they are to approach. One of the first ones I thought of was Shailene Johnson. She knows the MLM world because she's part of Beachbody. She sells her products through Beachbody. But she's all about personal development and self-confidence and that kind of thing. If we could get her on there, that would give us, we could help her promote something, kind of like he talks about in the Millionaire Messenger, and say, hey, if you got something to promote, we'd love to have you on and interview you about personal development, and then we can bring up that you're coming out with a book or a new CD or, whatever. Now, will she come on if we don't have like 5 million followers? I don't know. But it's the idea is to think outside the box, with the things that I'm doing with Nancy and Zen, and even with Eli, we're not mentioning Empower Network. It was mentioned last night because several people saw that we were in Empower Network. So at the end, they were asking us about it. So there's still people out there that don't know what we sell. And so there was a guy on there that was, very interested in what was going on with Empower Network and, what is it that how do you actually make money with it and that kind of thing. And but we never mentioned Empower Network. We call ourselves marketers, and we didn't say Empower Network or anything because we really want to use it, and that's kind of what I want to do with the ladies group is just use it for value purposes, training or interviewing someone to get information out there. They will naturally, if they like us, follow us on our Twitter accounts. And then from there, we can kind of guide them over to our blog or to, videos that we have or, another format to show them what we do. And so it's kind of like, get the followers on Twitter and then say, hey, if you like me on Blab, you might want to come over and check me out on my blog. And So anyway, yeah, I think that could be a very big deal to get other people on there to interview.
Okay. Well, good. Thank you for all that.
You're welcome.
All right. We've got a couple of minutes left to go, and let's use this time to see how we can help each other. If anybody's having any problems this week or things that they need to work out or have, had some trouble with during the week? Anybody have anything that they need some help with?
Mm,
All right, we got crickets again.
yeah.
Well, my week has kind of been not focusing on my business. It's been focusing on my family. So
Hmm.
um, I really don't have anything at this point.
Okay, well, you got to take care of mom, so
Yep.
we're all aware. Great.
I did want to mention that uh, Periscope thing that I saw from Chris Record. I don't know if you guys saw it. If you guys all saw it, just stop me in my tracks. But Ray had mentioned a good Periscope that Chris Record was doing, and so I watched him and started following him, and it's not like I didn't want to follow him. I just didn't think about him. I wasn't thinking about if he was on Periscope or not. So after that Periscope, I started following him, so I was getting notifications when he was posting stuff, and he had one called "How to Make $2,000 to $5,000 a month with Periscope," and he basically, in a nutshell, basically talked about a funnel, and he called it a 5-course dinner funnel, and it really helped me set up the way I want my new funnel to go. And uh, and he talked about Periscope, but you can use it with anything. You can use it with YouTube. You can use it with Facebook. Any social, you can use it with your blog. Any social media that you're on, that's the gateway. That's the door that they open to get to you. And so he called it a 5-course dinner, and he started out with, when you think about you're going out to dinner with friends or family, you start out with before dinner drinks. Whether they're, alcoholic or not, that doesn't matter, but you sit down and you get some Cokes or, a beer or two or whatever, and you sit down and you talk and you have some conversation. How are you? How are the kids? What's going on with baseball? You have a conversation. And that is basically your value that you're giving away free on whatever social media platform you're on. And then you move into the appetizer. And the appetizer is your tripwire. Once you get them, and part of the before dinner drinks is to capture the lead. Like, give away something at the end of your training, but then they have to give you their email information to get the free giveaway, the PDF of something, or a blueprint of something or whatever. And so you capture their lead. Then the appetizer is the tripwire, and some product that's between $5 and $25, and that has more value. It's more in depth than what you gave away free. Then the main course is obviously your main offer, which is for most of us Empower Network. And then dessert is something that you might want to add on a sale, that if you like this, you may like this. So it's kind of a quick add-on sale, something that may really help with what your main product is. Not just general training, but something that's very specific to your main course. And then there's the after-dinner drinks. And think of the after-dinner drinks as like hanging out with the people that you part of the party that you're there that you really love being with, and you could stay in that restaurant or around the kitchen table or whatever for hours and hours just talking and sipping on drinks. And that's your long-term value stuff. That's your people that are going to be on your list. They know, like, and trust you. They've bought from you before. They open your emails at least on a semi-regular basis. And when you offer them something, they're going to be much more likely to buy it. So the after-dinner drinks is kind of a long-term thing. And to think about, just other offers that you think your list will find helpful. But it is a sale. It is a product or a service or something that you're selling. And it really, even though I knew the whole kind of concept, putting it into that perspective of the 5-course meal just really kind of clarified it for me, and kind of wrote out my whole funnel the way I want it to work for my new niche. And And so, the only thing that I don't know that I haven't picked a tripwire yet, because on both iPass and Empower Network, their tripwire is a trial. And for me, at least personally, I think I want to offer something that is not a trial of what they're about to get. I want it to be a product that's gonna entice them to buy the main course and be helpful. Obviously, worth the value or more than the value than what I'm charging. So I'm trying to figure out kind of what I want to do for that. But other than that, it's kind of really clarified how I want the whole kind of system to go. So once it's set up, it's almost gonna. Of course, I'm gonna have to tweak and see how it works, but it's kind of like once you get it, it's a lot of work at the beginning, but once you get it set up, then hopefully it's gonna work. And if it does, all you got to worry about is, okay, let's tweak a little bit and see if it gets better or worse, and you can go back to the original and kind of do some tweaking and testing. So anyway, I thought that Periscope was really helpful, and he's also one who is repurposing his videos, and even though it's portrait, I mean not por yeah, is it portrait as opposed to landscape, portrait. He's still putting them up on YouTube and his blog and all that. He's repurposing the videos and because you might as well, if it's good information, if it's a good a Periscope and you got some great information out there, why record it again? Just put the copy of the Periscope up.
Right. Okay. All right, so just so everybody knows, next week I will not be here. Linda will be your host.
I'll try to be more awake.
Yay!
I will be. Okay, there we go. I'm an election inspector here in New York State, so I'll be working the polls next Thursday for our primary. So I will not be here. But for everybody else, don't forget we're going to be looking at Module 4 of the Top Producer Formula. So we'll get into that, and we'll see what else everybody has as we move on.
Ray, I haven't looked at Module 4. Do you know what it's about?
I don't recall. No, I looked at it the other day, but I forget.
Okay.
All right. Anybody with any last parting words?
Hey, I just want to say hi to Gary there in the. He's one of our viewers there.
Hi,
Gary
Gary.
Harper. He's hanging out with us this morning.
Hey, Gary Harper.
It's nighttime by him, I think. So good evening, mate. All right. All right. Well, that'll wrap us up for today. We will see everybody next week. And I'll be posting the replay link for everybody else in the thread for today. So till next week, or in 2 weeks for me, have a great week, everybody.
You too.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Enjoy the holiday weekend.
Yeah.